Yeah, we can scoot in because it's got a big ass bubble line.
Yeah. Shalom. We want to give all praise and glory to Yahushai. Double honors to our elders and apostles who rule Great Millstone Wow. And shalom to all you brothers pushing this truth with sincerity throughout the whole earth. May you brothers endure to the end. Shalom. We're going to start talking about faith. And the reason why, because faith is what it's going to take to get us through these end times. Jacob's trouble. It's going to come out with this chip, this RFID chip. This is what's going to come out with that Jacob's trouble. And if you don't have faith, you're going to be destroyed. And in many ways, more than one. And evidence of faith is images like this here. Because no other people could have survived this without the hope and faith that is actually built inside an Israelite's DNA. Okay, that's even why they could stick Jake, which are Israelites, straight into the ground in a concrete cell where he's being abused and raped, but he'll still have faith that's going to get better of somewhat because of believing in a God. You know, and I didn't say the Most High's name because most Jake don't know the name.
But they still have faith.
They still have faith, and that's evident of the Spirit. Because heathens, they don't have that faith that a Jake actually has. And that's what's going to get us through, just like it has got us through.
This is out of the book of Mark. It's 4:32. It says, "But when it is sown, it groweth up."
I'm gonna get that back real quick.
"And become greater than all herbs." Now, sowing is like when you're in the garden. You know, you're tending to the garden. You know, you're planting the seeds. You're plucking out the weeds. You know, just tending and making sure it's gonna grow rich. You know,
things that are going to interfere with you receiving that gift of food, but also, like, we believe we're going to receive a gift. That's also why we're out here. We're first afraid, but also we have hope that the kingdom is going to come, and we're all going to inherit that through the Spirit of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai.
It says, "It groweth up and become greater than all herbs, and shooteth out great branches." So man, it's like a beautiful, like, flourished tree, man. And just
growth.
Yeah, its branch is so beautiful, you know, it stretches out, man. But so that the fowls of the air may lodge under the shadow of it, and with many such parables spake he the word unto them, as they were able to hear it.
Right. So, like, Jake is a generous person. And that's what it's talking about. Like, trees are generous to birds, to squirrels, to animals, to humans that use that tree for shade, food, or shelter. So, just like that, Jake is known for going out of their way for family members or even strangers. I mean, ever since I grew up, every Jake family had someone living amongst them that wasn't, like, born in, but they were just so kind-hearted they took him in. And that's a trait of Jake, because Edomites they don't have that. In fact, that's what, when people talk about that reptilian, they're just describing the characteristics of a cold person.
Edomite.
Yeah, but an Edomite, they're cold. They're cold enough to kill their own brother. And that's what's going on here. This is evidence of what they're capable of doing. But they actually over-excelled many of these images.
What do you guys teach in the Quran?
No, the Bible, King James.
1611.
Yeah. So, go ahead, keep reading.
Going on to verse 34. "But without a parable spake he not unto them, and when they were alone, he expounded all things to his disciples."
Right.
Go ahead, you want to break that down?
Come on, man. So he expounded it. First of all, that's something that each, Yahushua had faith in his disciples only to understand the parables, to have that ability, that faith, that understanding, the spiritual depth to be able to perceive the truth. And then after the fact, Yahushua expounded. He went into clarification. He clarified these prophecies and these parables. And that's low-key what we do in the Brotherhood, man. You know, unfortunately, we don't have Yahweh Shai with us at this point. But in the Brotherhood, in faith, man, what do? We study these scriptures. You know, we use each other to break these parables down and expound with one another these understanding. Or this understanding, I should say, came from the other apostles first.
Yeah.
But are here
through
now.
the spirit
Yeah.
of Yahweh Shai, because he's here spiritually.
Right.
And just like the brother said, we don't have him here carnal, you know, in the flesh, but we have him amongst us in the spirit. And that spirit is the truth of this word.
Right.
Because this living word is living. You can't ever just read it one time a year and get it all. You can't just read it twice and just get it all.
Hey, somebody at my work, man, asked me that question. What was your favorite book? I said the Bible. And then he told me, he's like, oh, I knew you were gonna say that. He's like, I haven't read the whole Bible. And I told him, I was like, no one can. I was like, if you're 100 years old, man, I was like, you know, you're still gonna learn something off of it. Yeah.
It's a parable. And listening to the scriptures, you grow in faith. That's because you start to understand. Like, it's called a parable. Parables are like stories and things that he's putting together so that you could have an understanding, just like you would do for a younger child. Because they'll be like, they don't get it, so you got to break it down to a lower level in a parable story, which would go back to what, parallel, meaning side by side. You know, you're trying to get the same point across, and that's what we're doing here. And we try to do it as best to our ability to be in alignment with the elders of Great Millstone, because honestly, when we say double honors, we truly mean that. Because we come out here in faith that Yahweh Shai died for the children of Israel, but also that he set up those men, which are the elect.
And he's coming back to save that elect.
Right. And we in our heart, in our mind, which is the mind, we believe through fear of Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, and in faith that from elder to heart to the rest of the elders, you know, beginning with Elder Tar, are the true apostles that were resurrected from the dead, because, you know, they all had a starting point where they learned this truth of who we are. And then your faith grows. Okay? So, just like the elders were able to have that faith to endure for so many years, and so many struggles and wars and battles, that's the faith that we hope to grow.
Yeah.
So that we can survive this martial law that's coming in place.
Right.
Once this RFID chip is issued and takes the place of money. What, huh?
Oh. Going on, it says, yeah, 35. And the same day, when the even was come, the evening hour, he said unto them, let us pass over unto the other side. And when they had sent away the multitude, they took him, even as he was in the ship. And there were also with him other little ships. And there arose a great storm of wind, and the waves beat into the ships. The ship.
So those are like the troubles that come across you. When you got a ship in the ocean and a crazy storm comes upon you, you're in there and it's tossing you about. Well, fear is going to come across, such as death, you know, or injury, loss of some sort. Go ahead.
And there arose a great storm of wind, and the waves beat into the ship, so that it was now full.
And you know what? A good precept to the ships is Deuteronomy 28:68. What are those ships full of? The Israelite. Because we are the merchandise. And so we're going to be troubled in all the... when you go to your job, you're a piece of merchandise in this captivity. Okay? And that's why life seems so hopeless here in America, because nothing's changed. we're still just commodity being shipped around in turmoil. Well,
This is going on 38. And he was in the hinder part of the ship,
in the inside, Yahweh Shai would dwell on the inside,
asleep on a pillow.
asleep, meaning he's at peace. He don't need you, he don't need us, he don't need no one. He said himself the Father could raise people from stone. What up?
And they awake him and say unto him, Master, carest thou not that we perish?
Right, don't you care if we die? That's like if you came out here worried about what could happen out here. While you're pushing this truth, multiple things could happen. But, you know, that's what they did. Out of their fear, they went and woke Yahweh Shai out of his peace. And a man of war is going to be very angry being disturbed. You know what I mean? Because sleep and rest is very important, especially to a knowing leader, a master. Because every bit of rest is hard enough to get in war when you're fighting an enemy, but even when you got enemy mixed in with your own.
Right.
It says, verse 30.
And that's what the 2/3 are. The 2/3 of Israel, those are the enemy. And that's why we curse out Christians or whatever how they call themselves, Baptists, because they're pushing, saying that they read the Bible, that they know the truth. But when we're out here edifying people, they're not willing to come up here and just even have a conversation.
Servants of the flesh.
Right. No, they send over these spirits, because that's what's being worked up, are spirits, because we're going against that trend. But it's because we have faith to move in that way, honestly, because it ain't us, and it ain't any of us. It's the Holy Ghost working amongst us. I mean, how about that?
Verse 39. And he arose and rebuked the wind.
Right? So when he rebuked it, he pretty much told it to stop. Just like you would rebuke your child. Quit hitting your brother. Quit hitting your sister. Stop. Alright? So that's what he did. He rebuked them. And he rebukes us just like he controls the wind, the ocean. He controls us. And this is a rebuke that we suffer.
It says, and said unto the sea, Peace, be still.
Be still. And that's what Jay can't understand. How to be still. We can't be still in our lives, in relationships, in anything. We don't know how to be pretty much one-minded to something. We're like that ship just being tossed around.
Heel and fro.
Right. And little things just terrify us. Just terrify us. Someone, you know, it gets so simple. I've seen Jay get upset because they don't get the same parking every day at work. Because they want that routine so bad, because this slavery's been, you know, just seared into their conscience, and they're offended at anything that goes against that.
Calm, going on 39. And the wind ceased, so it stopped.
So the wind obeyed. Jake don't obey. This is why we went into this rebuke, this chastisement.
It says, and and there was a great calm. And he said unto them, Why are ye so fearful?
Right. How are you afraid? Because actually there's commandments that we're not supposed to fear our enemy in a time of peace, in a time of war. We're not supposed to fear a beast in the field. All our fear is supposed to be strictly for Yahweh Ba'Sham Yahushai.
How is it that you have no faith?
See, no faith, because the faith is what keeps you intact in this truth, man. And you stop to think, you think about the faith, like if we had faith to a certain extent, we might be able to produce spiritual power. So that's how powerful Yahushua used faith through the Heavenly Father to to stop the winds and the storm. And the same thing like what the brother was saying with life and stuff.
Yeah.
With just little bits of faith, little bits of amounts of faith, what could we really accomplish to endure these afflictions, these troubles that we're enduring right now?
Right.
And faith takes believing, man. It's believing and understanding, man. Believe that the Lord will get you through that hard task. The hard, walking that hard fine line, man. And you gotta believe. You don't go into a fight believing that you're gonna get your ass kicked. You know what I'm saying? You gotta go in there and believe that you're gonna overcome your enemy. Without believing in the Most High to help you overcome your enemy.
Right.
Salaki.
And that's the part of Moses with the staff. You have to walk with that faith, and a staff is like a leadership, and like you would use it to defend your herd from animals or other men, right? Or you would also use it to correct them. Yahweh Hashem Yahushai does the same thing, but what he does is he uses his word first. But when we don't rebuke ourselves because out of fear, what he will do to us, he sends us into captivity. And that's why we're still in captivity. We are the people that have remained in captivity since we went off to Egypt. Alright? And when they went off, they were selling each other. The 12 tribes, the 12 brothers, the fathers of all the 12 tribes.
Joseph was sold into slavery.
Was sold into slavery, but they all had a real piece into it.
Yep.
And that's how Jake is.
Can I get break that down?
Go ahead,
I wanted to bring out the scripture. It's Hebrews 8. I'm going to start on verse 8. It says, this is going to get on the reason why, we had to go through this and the reason why we're here today. For finding fault with them, he saith, behold, the days come, says the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers, because we fell off, man. That's why a lot of times when you be praying, pray for the forgiveness of your father's sins too, man. Because man, it just leaded on why we're here today.
Right. Lack of faith.
That lack of faith.
Right.
And that's what the two-thirds suffer from. They suffer from the lack of faith. And also all the heathens. That's why you're not in on this New Testament. It's only for the children of Israel. Which go back to the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, and the confusion of faith that are scattered amongst the other heathens, but the Spirit testifies in them.
Right, that we're the children of God.
Right. Do you have any more?
Yeah, just finish it off. It says, in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt.
By the hand. And who's the hand? Yahushai. He's the right hand. He's the Savior.
And then you had those Egypt that wanted to stay in Egypt. Just like you have Americans, two-thirds in America that want to stay in America.
Right.
And you had a remnant in Egypt that actually wanted to leave Egypt and come out of bondage and be free. And then you had Israelites that were like, man, we should just go back to Egypt because we had food and water.
Because they put their faith in a nation, man.
Right. Yep, that's the script. Well,
you know what? The Most High, if he's dealing with you, he's going to stretch you out. Because he wants you to grow.
Like the branches, man. Going back to the tree again.
Right, stretching out. He don't want you being just idle, just sitting there wasting away. You're not supposed to be a hidden talent. And faith is a talent. And that starts with prayer. We need people that are in the tribes, through the bloodline, through their father's lineage, in the faith, praying for us. Because we're out here doing this work, but we need that support in that form too, because prayer is very powerful. And prayer breaks down to why the women the women, you know, the women were always running around serving Yahushua. They were even the ones that when he was being crucified, they were going to serve his his body.
Bury him,
anoint him, you know. And most women, if you talk to them, they're like, "I'll pray for you." That's, you know, that's a service that is looked over real lightly. You know, it doesn't. A lot of people don't think it has a lot of value or power, but it's very important.
Especially when you put faith behind it.
Exactly, like Yahushua. He was praying so hard he bled, sweat, blood.
Yeah, out of his pores. You know how hard it is to do that?
Oh man.
You know how much stress you have to be under?
Right, but he still had that faith.
Yep.
Because he said, let it be Yahweh's will.
Yeah.
And that's what we're out here doing. Because honestly, at any moment we could be popped or took off into the, you know, darkness and never be heard of.
Right.
But out of faith, we believe that he'll deliver us. Even, go ahead, I'll get what you getting. Please give me Daniel 3.
Just to finish up that going on, it says, you know, I'll read back up. It says, I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they continued not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, says the Lord.
Right. If you don't regard Yahweh, Yahushua, he ain't going to regard you. In fact, he says he loves us because if you love Yahushua, and how do you love him? You obey him. And who did Yahushua come to speak of? The Father, Yahweh. So it all goes back to the Father through the Son. And it begins from there to the elders. Starting with Elder Tahar. Because they're gonna the prophets are gonna be passed back
to the seed.
And doing the same thing. And those are the elders of GMS are the only ones that stand true to today.
It's kind of beautifully said, brother, because you mentioned the DNA aspect of it. Spiritually, you have the faith of the reincarnation, and then we also have that spirituality of regeneration, man.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, through the spirit, we have to have faith that we're going to come back, or faith that we won't die. How many times have we actually lived, and how many times have we lived a life where we're trying to be as good servant as possible?
Can you grab that? Brother, if you could drop that, give me Genesis. Give me where Abraham was going to sacrifice his son.
This is Daniel chapter 3, verse 9. They spake and said to the king Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever.
Right.
Thou, O king, hast made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, or cornet, which is an instrument, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and delamer, and all kinds of music, shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whoso falleth not down and worshipeth that, he should be cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace.
Right. And that's talking about when these nukes come over here in America and burn this place up. You're going to be cast into that furnace. But Shalakia, right now it's talking about with Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but I'm saying this is also prophecy of what they're going to do to the prophets in Babylon today. Okay. Read that one verse again, huh?
It says, and whoso, Daniel chapter 3, verse 10, I'll start 11, and whoso falleth not down and worshipeth, that he should be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace.
Right, tribulation. Also, if you do that you fall down into that, you're going to die through the flames that are going to come through the ICBMs.
Right.
Okay? And we're talking about faith through the pastime of evidence that it brought us through, but also what we got to get through, what we're going to have to get through, okay? So this happened with 3 men during the time of Daniel, that they didn't bow before the image that Nebuchadnezzar set up, and so he promised them to be cast into the fire if they don't obey.
Right.
And that's what we're doing right here, right now. We're standing up saying, no, we're not going to take the image of the beast.
And we get cast in fire for it.
Right.
Spiritually, maybe not to that extreme, but we do face hell for this truth.
And there's going to be some of us that catch judgment.
Right.
Because that's our place, that's our lot. So, go ahead, it's going to pretty much explain more.
Con. It says, there are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon.
Right, so Jews go back to what would be today an African American, so-called. Okay, so they know who they were. They weren't going by false names like Christians they were still going by Jews. The Nebuchadnezzar in Babylon knew them as Jews.
And it was a bloodline.
Right, they knew it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that shows that these scriptures only deal with Israelite.
God.
Okay? Any book you go into, it doesn't matter. It's always with an Israelite.
Right.
Good.
I'm reading it again. It says, there are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon.
Right.
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, these men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up.
Right. So we're in Babylon today. So just like I said, prophecy deals with past, present, and future. This happened in the past. We're standing presently with the same faith that these three men declared. And we are in, what is the word? To describe America, they use the word Babylon in the Bible. Metaphor. I believe that's what it is. Metaphor?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when they use Babylon, it's a metaphor for America to describe America's characteristics and the prophecy that's going to take place. The prophets are going to be persecuted in America. Right up.
And they're spiritually doing the same shit here today.
Right.
To us.
And actually, it's the same people. Just like we were regenerated into slavery, Esau was regenerated back into a place of power.
Through his bloodline.
Through his father's bloodline.
It says, then Nebuchadnezzar, in his rage and fury, commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up?
So he's asking these three men, he's pretty much telling them, you know, what you don't worship the gods I've set up for you. He's asking them, I should say.
Right.
Go ahead,
Now,
I think it's Meshach.
Meshach Khan.
Meshach,
I can
yeah.
say Madrach.
Yeah.
Meshach Salak. Now if ye be ready, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, the flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and delamer, and all kinds of music, ye shall fall down and worship the image which I have made.
Right, so a bunch of chaos, right? And that's what's going on right now. There's a bunch of chaos being put before us, and it's telling us to bow. This society trying to make us bow in many forms. And when you hear that music, what is music? It's a time of mirth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, meaning it's good for you. And that's what they try to beat into us in these slaveries, that they have the best intentions for us. And you know what? We put that faith that we're supposed to have for Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, and we put it into our enemy, into our oppressors. All right? So like most people, they would not leave the city if they even had the ability, because it's so much easier to go to Walmart to buy a piece of meat that's already been cut up and processed than to go into the wilderness and hunt. You know, even if that was a possibility, most Jake ain't gonna deal with it. You know what I mean? Because they're too caught up in the music, going to the nightclubs, partying in the house of mirth, just having fun. Go ahead.
It says, but if ye worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour into the midst of the fiery furnace. And who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hands?
Right, so they're putting fear towards them. Nebuchadnezzar's trying to put fear in them, just like they're going to do to us when this chip comes out. They're going to say, if you don't take this RFID chip, you're not going to be able to eat. You're going to die. Yeah, you're going to get sick. Just like they do with the injections, the vaccines. They're like, oh, you're going to die. You're going to get sick. Your kid's going to die. But it's false. And that's this false propaganda that they still use today on us in this slavery right now, as they would do in Babylon under Nebuchadnezzar.
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter.
So they ain't having no respect for him.
Yeah, we don't give a damn about your customers.
Right. Just like these police come up, and you know they stand like they're gonna like put fear into us. But when you're standing with the true power, Yahweh Ba'Sham Yahushai, you got a courage that is beyond what you could even get with drinking. You know what I mean? Like a
The Lord is with you.
Yeah. And it's beyond anything, you know?
Once you feel it, you know it.
Yeah. And what it is it's the truth.
Yeah.
They can't deny this. They can't deny this is what they done to us. They can't deny it. So now all they're gonna do is, if they can't deny it and they can't suppress it by shutting us up, the only thing they could do is threaten us with death.
Right.
And that's why you're gonna get that RFID chip. But that's why we're talking about faith today.
Right.
Just like faith got us through all the other captivities, it's gonna get us through this captivity.
It's going to get into this in this chapter too.
God.
It says, if it be so, our God, whom we serve,
Right, so our power, Yahweh,
is able, let me read it again. It says, if it be so, our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace.
right, and the word deliver it would return to Yahweh Shai.
How was I? How was I now? How was I now? Or how was I?
Yeah.
And he, spirit is the spirit, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O King.
King. And he's going to deliver us out of the hands of the Edomites that are in power to today.
Modern day kings.
Right. Just like he delivered us out of all the other captivities that we suffered under.
That's right.
But,
It says, but if not, be it known unto thee, O King, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship thy golden image which thou hast set up.
so worship goes back to honor. And honor, we ain't going to honor it. And honor goes back to position, meaning Nebuchadnezzar just put it there and said, you need to worship it, meaning bow before it, worship it, care for it, love it. If you saw someone damaging that statue, you better go defend it with your life. And that's just like America. America is that idol also. Because a lot of Jake have a lot of patriotic, patriotism?
Patriot.
Yeah. They want to be patriotic and die for the country. Well, you're going to die for it in vain.
Right.
You know, or gangs. That's another false idol that if you pledge your allegiance to that, you're going to die.
Right.
Go ahead, Doc.
Says, then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach.
Right, and that shows that when we don't bow before him and just take to what they say, you know, like he says, what was that one where he said he didn't honor, we don't honor? Go
He says,
when they answer him?
Yep, he said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter.
We are not careful to answer in this matter.
Because we ain't thinking and worried about it.
Right, read that next script that you had up, jump down to.
After that, yeah, it said, then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and the form of his visage, being his face, his countenance, was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded, and they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it was wont to be heated.
Right, and that's evident with that dude you just saw, this camp. He just kept getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and it got so dangerous he was going to get himself hurt.
At his own risk.
Yeah, because he already went beyond that pressure. And that's what's going to happen to these Edomites. Starting with, go ahead,
and that's like you said, the cops were full of fury. They're full of fury because in this kingdom we're not in a position where we're afraid of their so-called position of power.
No.
And then what is that exhortation of idol worship really accommodate? We have our faith on the right hand, which is through Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. But through the left hand, what does that idol worship really accomplish?
Right.
Left hand wickedness. All it does is exhort left hand vibrations and promote more wicked vibrations into the world.
Right. Right, and it frustrates them that they can't do nothing to you.
Yo.
That you're not afraid of incarceration or death. And that's what this is. This end time that we're about to go through is to build up that faith. This is what it's gonna take to get you to that place of faith, to deliver you from receiving this chip. Because a lot of people right now in this time, they would still take that chip.
Right.
But there's going to be so much turmoil, you're going to start to wake up to who your enemy is.
Right.
And then once you learn your enemy, then you know his ways. That's why you're supposed to be wise as a serpent. And his ways are deceiving. And the deception is to terrorize you with torment. Just like the Christian church did. They said if you don't pay your tithes, you're going to go to hell.
Right?
Right?
Or yeah, that'll yeah.
Yeah. So that's why prophecy is so powerful.
Yeah.
It touches all aspects of past, present, and future events.
All in one.
All in one. And that's all through the power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
And he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace.
Right. So that's what Esau's gonna do in this time too. That we're in this captivity. They're gonna become upset because people are waking up to the truth and to the things that they have done to us and the things that they are going to do to us. And when they do that, they're going to get their mighty men. The mighty men is talking about the military.
Police, yeah, military.
Yeah, police, military. And what they're going to do is they're going to try to bind the prophets up. And that prophecy has to be fulfilled, where some are going to lose their lives for the Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
It says, then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace.
Right, just cast in, meaning you're just going to get thrown into there. And that's how this truth is. A lot of times when you receive it, you're just thrown into it. And you either swim or you drown.
And they didn't ask no questions either.
Nah, and that's how it's going to be when you're cast into these Jacob's trouble.
These prisons.
Yeah, you're just going to be cast into a place, and if you don't have faith, you're going to drown.
Absolutely.
And honestly, without even faith, you're not going to know what's going to happen, so you're going to get hit so blindsided. It's literally like that time when that tsunami, I think it was 2012, when a tsunami hit.
80?
Huh?
80 to 81? Or
no,
earthquake, never mind.
it was out in Asia. But it hit, I believe it was Taiwan. And a tsunami hit. There was people that were in the pools and
Oh, yeah. They made a movie
on
about
vacation,
it.
yeah. They're swimming, their kids are there just having fun, being in a house of mirth, and a tsunami's coming. From an earthquake miles away, it sent this wave, and it just devastated everybody. And that's what faith does. Faith that this is going to happen, that they're going to force this chip and make it mandatory. That's what gets us the faith to prepare ourselves and get out of harm's way. You know?
And that shows us that it has to be us. It has to be the elders, because spiritually, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they were refusing to uphold the heathen customs. Right. So what they do.
Right.
What are we doing? We don't uphold America's customs. In fact, we denounce America's customs. We denounce heathenistic customs. And therefore, in the same way, which we're going to get into, is going to be us in those times. Like you said, they're going to throw us in those camps.
Yeah.
They're not going to be respected as a person when they put us in those firing squads.
Right.
You know? Mm-hmm. All because we won't bow down to the image of the beast, which is America.
That was set up. And that's where it's been put in place, and he tells them to worship it. It's been set up. America's been set up. It's a FEMA camp. It's one big ass FEMA camp, and your Walmart, your King Supers are commissaries. And if you behave yourself, you get a couple greenbacks with your oppressor's face on it, and you get to buy a couple little goodies to take home to your prison cell. With your cellmate, your one wife that's already had many cellmates. You know?
Such a setup. What did the owner of Walmart, he's dead now, Sam Walton, he had military contracts with the government. Most people don't know this, but he actually designed internment camps in World War II for the Japanese. And then he, mass-produced retail centers in the same design and format, so that when this martial law kicks off, all these local retail centers that we have around are going to be used and doubled. Like the brother said, it's a setup. They set it up knowing that they would fool everybody with this image of a retail center. You go buy stuff for your family, and then turn around, they strip it, and they gut it. Now they got guillotines in there. They got all kinds of torturing devices. And
you know what? That's that music that comes with that idol when he tells them to bow and the music plays. Mm-hmm. That's what they do. They try to make it look good for you, make it look attractive.
Yeah, appealing.
Right, if they told you really what it was, you wouldn't want to do it. So they try to make it appealing, like they do with the rosary, or like I remember when I was a kid, we'd be driving down the street, and when they crossed the Catholic Church, they would so-called bless themselves. They'd X themselves out. And at a moment, I said, man, that looks like that's cool, you know, that makes you stand out. You know, and it's not, but it's death, but covered in myrrh. Like a sweet smell, but it's just death, bones. You know, like, what is it? The funeral, where they
Formaldehyde.
yeah, but where they put the bodies in. Remember Yahushua was talking about it?
The morgue?
Oh yeah, the sepulcher.
The sepulchre?
Yeah.
Where they put them in that marble building?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Above ground.
It looks
Oh,
beautiful,
Yeah.
but on the inside it's death.
Yeah.
Well, having Walmarts put through all over your communities look beautiful and convenient, but now they're coming with death. Go ahead,
It says,
Gotta do a couple of steps too.
just bring them out and give me.
therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent and the furnace exceeding hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Right.
And these three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down, bound in the midst of the burning fiery furnace.
Right. So they put them into the fiery furnace that was actually made more hotter than normal, because that's how mad the king was. Go ahead,
Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished, and rose up in haste, and spake and said unto his counselors, did not we cast three men bound into the midst of the fire?
Right. So astonished. Thank you. Astonished means, well, he was pretty much like
Disbelief.
breathtaking, like,
Yeah.
and that's what they're being. Right now, these Edomites, you know, with the Rothschilds and the Bilderbergs, they're being astonished. Because even though they try to kill us in so many different ways, they're astonished that we haven't died yet. They poison us. They got abortion clinics trying to exterminate us. They're making our young men homosexuals, our women whores. But they can't eliminate us. Just like with these men also, because they are Israelite. Once again, these men were Jews.
Right.
From the tribe of Judah, just like Yahushua was.
Right.
Good, huh?
It says, did not we cast three men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, true, king, meaning yes, king. He answered and said, lo, I see four men loose walking in the midst. And this is the beautiful part. It says, he answered and said, lo, I see four men loose walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the fourth is like the Son of God, being Yahushua, the Spirit of Yahushua, man.
Right.
We're talking about men being in the midst of a burning furnace and not being burnt. Their flesh is not melting.
Right.
They're not
Harm.
screaming. They're not wailing.
Not even an odor was on them when they come out. But you know, that also goes back to the brotherhood. Because how much stronger did it make them when there was three of them instead of just one by himself?
Absolutely.
You know, declaring the same decree. You know, that builds you up. It builds that strength. In fact, that's what hope goes back to, is rope. To give someone hope, if they're in the ocean, you throw them rope. And that's what we are. We're a rope, you know, tied together.
It's like that Power Rangers movie, man. In the end, Gar was actually showing me that, man. He was showing me a little video on it, and it showed how they all linked together. You know,
Yeah,
they had to work together and everything to defeat, the evil.
And that's actually what links us together, is this faith. And faith is exactly like hope. Is to believe into something that we have not seen.
Con, love it.
Go ahead.
You got any more meat on that? Huh?
You want me to
Go ahead and hold that for a little bit.
All right.
Con,
Yeah.
that's funny
Go ahead.
because that's the spirit. As just give me 1 sec. Just wanted to look up this word here. There it is. Okay, so this is out of the Hebrews. Hebrews 11:7. By faith, Noah, being warned of Yahweh, of things not seen as yet, moved with fear.
Right. So just like this, people don't believe this is coming. But out of faith, like what we have, that this is coming, we're afraid, and we're gonna make that move to avoid. Just like Matrix. Remember Neo? He had to move on that phone call. So that right at the right time, he had to move when he was told to move, so that he wasn't seen by the mighty men coming to put him into the flames, just like that. That's why a lot of these movies are biblical, and they just get them to mock us. They really try to mock us, but Yahweh, you know, he puts it there, I believe, to also edify us.
Always
Says, not seen as yet, moved with fear.
Moved with fear.
Yeah, see, not seen, we can't physically see these things coming. I mean, even to a degree, you really can, but we're moved with fear because the Lord has given us the visage and the spirit of faith to understand these prophecies, to know that this is going to happen,
Right.
and to fear it, and to prepare ourselves, like this brother and the brother's saying, spiritually to prepare ourselves.
Right.
Because when you understand and believe, man, you start seeing these things like this brother was saying in these movies, man. You start seeing truth unfolding. And when you start seeing those, I mean, you start understanding and you believe that these things are going to come to pass. And when these things come to pass, where is your faith going to be?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you actually become more angry because you see more of the oppression.
Yeah.
You know, as you become wise, you become more bitter.
That's why, you know, when you get into this, man, your friends might not even talk to you. Man, everybody that you really, like, you know, really knew back then, you know, before you jumped into the truth.
And
And
you know,
what you do, abandon all that through faith. though.
Exactly.
Brothers will come from different walks of life.
Yes.
Right.
You know,
Some-
reject their families, reject their friends.
Yeah.
All out of faith because they would rather subject themselves to the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai than be in the flesh.
right?
They asked me, a lot of times some people would ask me, why? Why are you, and I'd be like, man, because I'm scared.
Yeah.
Because
See,
I'm
like you
scared.
just said, yeah.
I understand.
Come on.
And I believe that, you know, the Lord is going to come and, you know, put judgment not only on this earth, but redeem the elect of Israel, man.
And you know, if you don't fear him, this is why he's going to put you through this. And this is another form that's going to come through with that chip. Because you know what was also on your hand? Shackles. And this is just another form of having a shackle on you.
Right.
You know, and that's why we're afraid. And like, it's just like your child, your own child. If you tell your kid to get right, if he gets right, you ain't going to whoop him.
Come on.
But if the kid keeps fucking up and he rebels, you got to hit the kid eventually.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what we're out here doing. We're trying to tell our brothers and sisters through the bloodline of Israel.
Show them the wrong in their ways.
Yeah, saying, hey, our pops is about to fuck you up.
And that's what this is going about to get into. Says, moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house. So man, he's trying to put this together, you know, put these pieces together, you know, to build this ark, because you know,
For his family's
yeah,
sake.
for his household, man.
Yeah.
Because he's worried about his you know, his children, his wife, man. A lot of these brothers that are pushing out this truth, man, they do, you know, they have families. They you know, they gotta worry about their children, you know, and you know, honestly, when it comes down to that, you know, there's brothers out there that have the same understanding of that, you know, that are going through that same thing.
And you women, you really, if you're in understanding this truth, and you have a man in the truth, you better support that man. Because you did not once hear about Noah's wife rebelling against his order, even though she couldn't see it. You know, he's warning her, hey, water's coming, rain is coming, a flood is coming. You know what? She got up and helped him build. She made him sandwiches or whatever she did, you know, to help in that advancement.
A good example of what not to do would be like Lot's wife,
Right.
where she was specifically told not to look back at Sodom and Gomorrah,
Right.
and did.
And you know, you also didn't hear about Noah's wife building the ark. That's the work of the men, of the elect. The women's place is to serve that elect.
And that's what this work is, man.
Yeah.
That's our work, man. Is just building
the
this
ark.
up. Yeah, that's what we're doing out here right now. You know, is building that ark. You know, trying to you know, bring this beauty out as a song, man. going on, it says,
You dropped that off.
prepare an ark to the saving of his house, by the which he condemned the world, because here,
Whoa, wait. You gotta hit that again.
yeah, by which he condemned the world.
But through his house by which he condemned the world. Come on, man. Go ahead, Al.
Read it one more time from the top. Right?
Come on. So, prepared an ark to the saving of his house, by which he condemned the world.
Right. So out of his faith, just like what we're doing out here, standing, building an ark, man by man, to the Spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahshua, he condemned the world. Right now, our faith is condemning this world right now. Because we're moved by the Holy Spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahshua. So the more they come and persecute us, and condemn us, and blaspheme against us, the more they're just moving that forward.
Prophecy against them.
Yeah, the prophecy against it.
Con.
That's what faith does. It moves the mountains.
Come
And it shows that we are the true children of God.
And moving the mountains is powers. There's powers. Mountains are powers, like governments. And Yahweh Shai, if you see that when he was on one of the chairs, they said it was like a mountain range. I mean, that's how powerful he is. He comes with that great glory.
Right.
And there ain't no power on this earth that is going to stand against his power, because his power is Yahweh. That's who raised him from the dead. And that's who faith. That's what I was going to have this brother get Abraham, but just for the.
get it too.
Can you? Okay, because all these men were moved by faith. The prophets were moved by faith.
If I could just finish up
Go ahead.
that one, because that
Go ahead.
beautiful. It says, Slakia, because it's going to talk about Abraham here in a second. It says, by that which he condemned the world, because and became hearer of righteousness. Heir.
He inherited righteousness.
Yeah.
Because even though we're in this time, we're sinners, and honestly, we can't escape sin. But out of our acts of fear, out of faith that Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is going to return and judge, we're going to be found righteous. We're going to inherit that righteousness under Yahweh Shai.
And yeah, like the brother just read in that script, out of what? Why do we have vision of the truth before it happens? Because we fear the Most High.
Right.
It's a fearful thing.
And became heir of the righteous, which is by faith.
Heir meaning someone that inherits. Inherit, yeah.
Yeah, it's their lot. It's their. I had it right here
It's
too.
the person that receives the inheritance.
One who receives by lot an heir.
Right. And everybody's playing their lot. There's the men that are going to push this truth and out of faith, and there's going to be the men that fall out of the truth or even buck up against the truth. But also in the 1/3, there's going to be women that are going to have faith, and they're going to fall into their lot, which is their place.
Yeah. If you keep on reading down down through this chapter, it actually breaks that down too.
And you know,
about Sarah. Talks about Sarah.
Inheritance, they could actually, even in today in this carnal world, if you left someone something, you could actually put like a command that say, hey, I don't want them to get it until they're 18, right? You say, I leave my son so much money, I die, but I left him my will, I don't want him to get it till he's 18 and finish his colleges or whatever. Put like a predetermined a settlement that he has to hit, and then he's able to receive that inheritance.
I just call it trust fund.
Right. Well, that's the same thing what we got here in the New Testament. That if you do what he tells you, you shall receive it when it's due to you.
It says on verse 8 out of Hebrews 11. By faith, Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should have to receive for an inheritance.
By
Receive for an inheritance.
right, but he did it by faith. That's the point.
And obeyed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead and start at the top of that one.
By faith, Slovakia. Yeah,
You
by
could call it out too.
this is Hebrews 11:8. By faith, Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should after receive for an inheritance, obeyed, and he went out, not knowing whither he went.
Right, and we're doing that right now. We're coming out and obeying, and we're going to inherit this land. We're going to inherit the whole earth. So we're doing this out of faith.
Not knowing where or how this is going to go,
No,
but out of faith.
but out of faith.
Yeah. I'm gonna jump to that Genesis 21, Slovakia 22.
Right, get into that faith that Abraham had.
It says this is Genesis 22, and I'm gonna start on 1. And it came to pass after these things that Yahweh did tempt Abraham,
Go ahead.
and said unto him, Abraham, and he said, Behold, here I am.
Right.
And just letting him know he was there. And he said, Take now thy son, thine only son, Isaac, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering. Now, when you go through the book of Leviticus, it gets into burnt offerings and all that. And a lot of times it was like an animal sacrifice. Now, when Yahushua came down and got crucified, that was that main sacrifice. So now, we no longer do animal sacrifice. You actually have to beg and ask for forgiveness through Yahushua, and Yahushua will bring it up to Yahweh.
Right.
And without faith, you condemn yourself.
Right.
Slovakia,
You
bless
asked
my
yourself
spot.
out.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? I'm moving, and my uncle, he died in the house I live in, and so we sold it, and I'm moving out now, and the neighbor came up to me, and he's a Catholic, and he said, wasn't you afraid? And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, sleeping in the house, wasn't you afraid? And I was like, oh no, I believe, that the Most High, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is going to deliver me. And I read the Bible and listen to it constantly.
That's faith.
Right.
I mean, that's a real test of faith. You have somebody that was baseless to be worried about that, and then you, being the true example, having faith, not be worried about it. Yeah.
Right, and he actually told me one day, because he told me that when he saw me, I was in the dark, because my car, where I parked my car, there was no light. But I got out, and me and him crossed paths, and he said, you terrified me. I thought you were your uncle. You know what I mean?
He must have done something bad to
And
him.
I was like, man, this dude has no faith. Because if you had faith, you'd be in the scriptures, and it already told you not to contact familiar spirits.
Yep.
And that's a familiar spirit. So if I saw something like that, I would already be like, not worried, like afraid, but I'd be like, I would not even think of a spirit be standing there. You know what I'm saying? I'd already think of a man.
Yeah.
Because I would not be expecting to see what you would call a ghost walking around. And that's a lack of faith.
Yep.
Faith enough to open this Bible and read, because this is the understanding that you have to understand the truth of everything and everything that functions. Good, huh?
Going on Genesis 22 and verse 2. I'm going to go back up, describing the burnt offering. And offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains, which I will tell thee of.
Right, so he didn't even let him pick the mountain he was going to do it. The location. And you see, that's the thing. We don't pick these locations we set up. Most High does.
Yeah, we go by the Spirit.
Right. And honestly, like if you was in a dead spot, you would honestly, through the Spirit, wanting to get this truth out, move yourself to where it's more busier, more traveled by Jake, so that you could get that edification out. And that's only out of faith. See, faith is like a main ingredient. It's not the only ingredient, but it's a main ingredient.
And
Let's just say it's necessary.
Yeah,
Right.
it's that oil that's gonna keep you going.
Yeah.
Right.
What is it? Going back to that, that plant that's stretching out his branches.
Mustard seed.
Yeah, a mustard seed. You know, if you really think about it, if you stay in one little spot, you know, say if you're not gonna, you know, grow a little bit, or you ain't gonna reach out your branches, you know, what's gonna happen to the plant? Plant's gonna get singed by the sun, you know, it's gonna get, you know, wilted, you know, it's just gonna end up finding no, structure again.
Right. And also, a plant just doesn't live off water. It
Or
needs
sunlight.
Light.
It also needs nitrogen,
Right. But it needs
potassium.
yeah,
There's all
but it
kinds
needs a mixture of it all, an accurate mixture to its needs.
Are you talking about the pH balance?
Yeah, everything. Sunlight. If you put a plant that's from Colorado to the desert, it ain't gonna survive. See what I'm saying? And that's also what happens in the camps too. Brothers might step out of line and try to play a part that they're not, and that could actually destroy you. But also, if you don't stretch out where the fruit is, which is at the end of the branches, out of faith that branch is going to support you. You know what I'm saying? And Yahushua is that branch. And Yahweh is the husbandman. If you don't produce fruit, you know, stretching out. And that fruit is this faith, because you grow in faith. And you start to do works of faith. And that's keeping the commandments. Go ahead,
It reminds me of that song, Lean on Me. You know?